What's up, everybody? I'm Nathan, and I'm coming at you with a sweet manga recommendation. Remember being a dumb, stupid kid, and the first time you watched Pokemon, you realized that Ash was only like 10 years old, and so you're like, dude, I'm basically 10 years old, or 7, or 12, or 22, or whatever, and if loser old Mash Slouchum can befriend Pikachu, so can I! Then you'd run around out in the woods throwing plastic Pokeballs at fuzzy wildlife creatures until your dad whistles to come and get dinner. Green beans with salt and ketchup, don't ask. What about that time when you'd be playing on the playground at school and you'd believe that maybe you had this magical tattoo on your body that you just hadn't seen yet, but if you fling yourself off the top of the slide, you'd grow these giant black crow wings and fly away with your friends on an epic adventure, and then when you finally catch your breath and realize that you've just jumped off of the top of a playground and not flown away, you receive a severe tongue lashing and go up to your room and read about that exact same thing, only it would actually be cool because it would work in the thing you were reading? Oh, is that just me? Cool. Well, get ready for that action starting now. If what I just described sounds familiar to you, then you likely read Plus Anima back in your childhood glory days at the Barnes & Noble. If not, the manga we're talking about here is another small-time seller that, odds are, you haven't even seen before. And hey, it's not your fault. Apart from being a shonen manga and from having a title that comes up as one of the first few on any manga list, Plus Anima didn't have the marketing to the American population that it deserved. As far as I can tell, it never ran in or was even featured in Shonen Jump, and it never had an anime adaptation to air on Japanese or American television, so it was at a serious disadvantage from the get-go. But that by no means should discredit its presence in the market or its validity as a manga. From the year 2000 to 2004, Plus Anima was written and illustrated by Natsumi Mukai for publication and serialization through MediaWorks in the shonen manga magazine Dengeki Comic Gao, a magazine known for its manga adaptations of light novels, leaning more towards fantasy and adventure rather than action and giant megaswords like other shonen. Due to its popularity, Plus Anima was published to volume format on December 16, 2001, and ran for a quick 10-volume series lasting until March 26, 2005. It would then go on to be distributed by Tokyopop in the US and Madman Entertainment in Australia starting in March 2006, a year after it finished production in Japan. Mukai, knowing the release format of Dengeki Comic Gao, formed the manga in a form of novelization known as episodic storytelling. This refers to the structure of the chapters of the volumes. Mukai is also known for a few of her other works, Nui and Wandel Wanderer, and then Fortune Quest L, an anime you'll swear that you've seen before, but you cannot remember where. She's relatively well known for her method of storytelling, which is also evident in Plus Anima. Instead of trying to tie together a long connected epic, Plus Anima came about at an episode at a time, ultimately making each chapter a random and disconnected part of an overarching adventure. Think the random filler episodes of One Piece and Naruto, only actually designed that way intentionally as a storytelling mechanism and not as a plump cash cow being squeezed. Luckily, since this was in Mukai's natural plan for the manga, it came across with brevity and landed itself into a 10-volume series that flies by like the animal people that she illustrates. Like I mentioned earlier, it's hard to tie down this series to one central story with much depth due to its episodic structure, but I'll do my best. The manga brings the reader into the continent of Asteria, a major landform in this fantasy world where a majority of our story takes place. The first character that we meet is our stereotypical goofy and naive protagonist Kuro, who appears in a church as an infant with a mysterious tattoo birthmark thingy and black crow wings. The reader can speculate that Kuro is an orphan and his mother passed with his birth. Also, he loves apples, 'cause reasons, I guess, I don't know. Next up, we meet our best friend and competitive anti-hero, Husky, who is a fish anima that turns into a merperson when immersed in water. Throughout the story, we learn that he is also of some kind of royal bloodline and has some serious problems with the ladies, despite often being confused with said gender. Unlike Kuro, Husky wasn't born with the natural talent of controlling his power. Instead, he discovered his ability through tragedy and hardship. The third team member is the looming yet gentle tank character, Senri, the bear anima. He's normally a totally gentle and flower-loving hippie, but whenever he has to protect someone, his arm turns into a sweet bear arm. He also happens to be an excellent chef and has healing saliva? Whatever, I didn't write the manga. He is one of the more mysterious characters in the story, mainly because he doesn't speak and he has an iPad. I mean, come on, would you sit comfortably on the subway with this guy? Senri also proves interesting because he is the first anima that we meet that comes from a family of anima, meaning that there is some strand of this genetic anomaly that might be hereditary. Our final member to join this sausage fest is Nana, who plays the cute yet annoying love interest and female of the team. Out of all the team, she has the most utilitarian power set thanks to her bat anima powers. She can fly, hear from super far away, and send out Black Canary-style vocal waves. However, she also has some harsh blended daddy issues and PTSD from her drunken father's hatred of her ability. Needless to say, like Husky, Nana discovered her ability through tragedy. So these four make up our main team, and after all being established in Volume 1, the remaining 9 volumes revolve around their adventures to try and find a place that will accept anima instead of treating them like freaks. Kind of like a 4-man X-Men team, but they are all children. Did I mention that? If you can't tell by their adorableness, the entirety of the cast are children, with the oldest being at most 17. Like I said at the beginning of this video, Plus Anima was never really picked up by the mainstream American audience, and so I wasn't able to find any professional reviews online. But I did manage to find some killer amateur reviews, such as Jeremy, who picked up the manga just because his GF loved it, and so he loves it too. He also seems to have trouble keeping his tongue in his mouth, so Jeremy, you might want to get that checked out. Or how about this stellar review that says, well, it's kinda boring. The characters are all bland, and the main character is just so carefree and cheerful and bland that I just couldn't like him. And you know, I just gotta agree with this guy. Shows with these bland characters who are just so carefree and cheerful, there's just no way to make a show like that work on television. Anyway, I'm by no means claiming that this manga is the next great thing or something you absolutely must read before you even eat again, but I think that this manga is definitely one to put on your queue for a fun read. Aside from cookie-cutter characterization, the main cast has some interesting chemistry, and the dialogue between the personalities is a fun read. Not to mention that they are actually just fun to look at. Maybe it's my own personal artistic leaning, but I have to give it up to Mukai for creating a really incredible work of art in this series. The characters themselves are intricate and a delight to the eyes. The landscapes that Mukai creates from page to page really draw in the reader to this world of Asteria and could honestly be framed. Mix that in with similarly intricate side characters, some of which appear multiple times, and you have a wide enough array of art to make this manga valuable for that reason alone. And despite not being thick with too much action, the action that is delivered is compelling through Mukai's attention to detail and hard-line style. I would argue that Plus Anima's biggest strength, however, is also its biggest weakness: its episodic structure. Despite the fact that the brevity in these adventures makes it have the ability to appreciate the manga in smaller chunks instead of binging, it would also be nice to have a compelling reason to read the story itself. The fact alone that I couldn't come up with a more cohesive plotline than their adventures to try and find a place that will accept anima is proof enough of this weakness. If one were to sit down and read this series with an expectation of a plot as lucrative and long-lasting as Naruto, then they would be severely disappointed with the empty feeling that the story's ending leaves you with in the finale. That being said, it would be unwise to turn a blind eye to the work of art that can be found in the actual ink on the pages of this series. So what? Why should you check out Plus Anima? I'll sum it up quick for all of you that made it this far into the review. Plus Anima is a gorgeous and fun fantasy and adventure ride that takes you through Natsumi Mukai's immersive world of Asteria. With all of the standard characters you'd find in some of your favorite manga, it gives a collection of quick episodes of the adventure of a band of heroes out to destroy discrimination. It's not a particularly heavy read, containing only 10 quick volumes, and experiencing Mukai's level of detail is reward enough for purchasing this series. Not to mention, if you ask Jeremy, your GF or BF will love it, so isn't that incentive enough for more manga? Like this video? Click that like button to let me know that you want to see more, or click that subscribe button to find out when I make more. Thanks for watching!